Oh, hey there. Welcome back to the channel. I am going to tell you the story of my pulmonary embolism. I've told this story before, but um, I like to repeat said story in case it ever will get someone to go to the doctor when they haven't been feeling well for a week plus. If it will get someone to think about advocating for themselves when they're at the ER, and if it will make someone think about the symptoms that they have that may be a blood clot. Blood clots are actually pretty common, and they happen for various reasons. For me, I never really found out the reason. I was on a hormone-based birth control from when I was around 17 until this happened at, how old was I? 28? I was 29. It happened in 2014. I was born in 1985, so I was 29. Anyways, here nor there. I was on that, and that's a high reason that women will get blood clots is from these, and you will see a lot of research on that. I am not a scientist. I am not a doctor. I am only telling you my experience with my blood clot and my pulmonary embolisms. So I did a half iron distance race. It wasn't Ironman branded. This was in 2014. I was super stoked about possibly doing an Ironman. So I signed up for this half Ironman to kind of be my little test out the waters. And I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was a great race. It was about 5 hours away from where I was living at the time. And after the race, I was feeling tired, like you should, a little sore, like you should. But I went home, still wasn't feeling a hundo, did a lot of reading, Googled all of that to be pretty much told that it's very common to not feel that great after a half iron distance race. You're going to feel tired. It's going to take longer to recover. You're going to be really hungry. Your body's going to be sore. I went beach camping with some friends. That's something we did where we lived. We went onto the beach, set up shop. You slept there, drank a little bit. The next morning, I had really bad calf pain, but I had fallen asleep weird on a blanket, and I thought it was just the way I laid on that blanket. So that calf pain was there in the back of my mind, but not really like the forefront of my tiredness and everything else that was going on with my. It was almost 12 days out from my race when I was hanging out with my then boyfriend, who was taking classes for nursing he was in nursing school. And I fainted from a small wave hitting me on the water. We were on a paddleboard, nothing crazy, like just a small little half-footer wave, and I just couldn't take it. That's how tired I was. And I was at that time complaining of these side cramps that I was getting. At least in my mind, I thought it was side cramps. I was like, I've gotten this stitch in my side for days, and every time I would take a deep breath or I would cough, it would hurt. Laugh, everything, this side stitch would tear me up, level 10 pain. And it went on for days, and my then boyfriend was like, hey, that's not a side stitch. That's not how side stitches work. So one, I think if I was by myself, I probably would have just carried on and probably not then carried on. You'll see why later in the story. So I was having those side, and he finally convinced me to go to the emergency room. We went to the emergency room on a Sunday night. It's a college type town, also a beach town, also a tourist town. So they got a lot going on. My stats were good. I had a good pulse ox. I had a good heartbeat. Other than the pain I was having, my blood pressure was fine. Other than the pain I was having and the symptoms I was describing, then the lethargic, the not being able to get full breaths, and passing out from small things, and the large pain in my side. They sat me there and had me wait a little while. And once I went back and saw the doctor, they weren't going to do anything. They were just like, here's some pain medicine, go home, have a good day. I was super, super lucky because I would have went home and had a good day. Sometimes, that's just me. I'm not a confrontational person. I trust in people that are taking care of me. But my boyfriend at the time was like, he'll know. She's been in pain for 12 days. Here's all of her symptoms. We're going to figure out what's wrong, because that's just crazy that you're just going to send her home with no blood tests, no nothing. Don't look at the side. Just send me home, because I had just done the half Ironman, so they were just assuming I was still tired and lethargic and sore from it. Well, he had mentioned the calf pain that I had only briefly mentioned like a week or so ago, because the side pain was overbearing that by a million. And so he had mentioned the calf pain, and they were like, okay, we'll do this thing called a D-dimer test. And the D-dimer test tests whether or not your blood is clotting correctly. And it came back as positive for a blood clot. And even then, they were like, well, we get a lot of false negatives, or a lot of false positives on these D-dimer tests, so it's probably not, but we'll check just in case. I had good insurance. I was working for a company at that, and it wasn't like I wanted to be checked. I don't want to figure out what was wrong with me. I didn't like being in pain. And they're like, okay, we'll do a scan. They scanned, and I had small little blood clots, or PE, in my lungs. And that's what was causing the severe pain. That's also what was not allowing me to take deep breaths in, all of that. I was lucky. Blood clots can burst. They can go to your lung. They can go to your lung. They can go to your brain. It is very, very, very common for a person not to survive a pulmonary embolism. I was very lucky, like I said, to have someone that said, hey, you need to go get checked out, and have someone advocate for me in order to make sure they found out the problem. Because I could have just had mini blood clots that got bigger and bigger in my lungs, and then it would have been me not breathing anymore. There is an awesome organization called stoptheclot.org. I will put them in my description below. Someone that I found recently on Instagram, like a year ago. They have a month around blood clots, but they do a lot of advocating, telling you about the signs and everything like that to check out. It is very important, especially my athletes out there, to know that blood clots are common for us athletes who go and do intense workout and then may sit in a plane or sit around in a car. Like I said, they ended up finding that I had no blood disorders. So it could have been my birth control. It could have been me sitting in the car. It could have been that day I fell asleep on that blanket. Who knows? They don't really go way into that. I did not have any blood disorders. I did end up changing my birth control. And I also was on a blood thinner for about a year. But once we found out that I didn't have any blood disorders, I got off the blood thinner. So I don't take that anymore. But some things you can do for yourself to mitigate that type of thing happening is compression, not sitting for long periods of time. Make sure you're super hydrated, drinking alcohol and stuff after events like that. Not always the best, or at least drinking a lot of it, not always the best. And just make sure if something is not right, if you can't do it for yourself, have that person that you can call or go with you and just be like, hey, I don't feel right. I need it checked out. Because, like I said, if I would have went home, I might have not made it past that day. I did get diagnosed with thyroid cancer about 6 months later. And in my mind, I'm not super religious, but it was the universe kind of pushing me to keep getting checked out and keeping eye on other things going on in my body. And that's when they found the thyroid cancer, is just because we were just checking everything out in my body, because that was something to do when you got sick at 29 years old, to make sure everything else is okay. And so that's what I think the main reason for it. Like I said, I'm here to share my story, because if we're not sharing out there in the world, then you know, I always think about someone and I'm like, I'm doing this because I saw this, this, or that. So I'm hoping that me by sharing the story and something like that might be happening, that you think of me or think of this story and know that you can advocate for yourself, that if you're not feeling right, to go in and get it all checked out. I have a little bit of vloggy poo from my Tuesday. I'm going to put it here. I love you all. I will check in with you very, very soon. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I truly believe you're meant to be here, so hit that subscribe. We're heading out on our low heart rate 45-minute run. I wanted to get out here about a half hour ago. It's starting to get hot already. It's about 75 and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's gonna be a hot day. Tomorrow we got an hour 10 run. We're definitely getting out here by 7:30 for sure. For now though, let's get 45 minutes in, low heart rate. I'll probably just go after the 4 miles. And yeah, 103 days till Ironman California. Let's go. There's a bunch of construction going on back there. I'm a little over 2 miles. There's a bunch of new houses being built where I'm running. And it's kind of nice to run in that area when they're not doing construction, because it's just like quiet. There's not a lot of cars. Yeah, so. But anyways, a little over 2 miles, running that 11:40 pace. Took about a minute break now though, so need to get back at it. I'll check in the end. All right, time to bike. I've been doing absolutely nothing all day. Well, not absolutely nothing. I've been doing a little bit of content, trying to get my brain focused. It's just been a mental day, personal stuff at home we might talk about later, and also just like freaking the world. Freaking America. Anyways, bike ride needs to be done though, so here I am. I got 5 by, let me see. Oh yeah, I've looked at it like 3 times and it still surprised me that it's 5 by 6 minutes at zone 4, so we're gonna get after it. I'll check in during those zone 4 or after some of those zone 4s. 3 pushes in, 2 to go. Definitely kicking my butt, but I'm getting them in. According to Strava, 100% on all the pushes. My recoveries have been a little bit lower, but that's a recovery. It's supposed to be recovery for 2 minutes, so yeah. Whew, I'm gonna recover. Ride is done, feeling good. I looked at it, I didn't do too shabby. TriDot only gave me a 77 out of 100, but that's because I had some zone 3 during my zone 4, some zone 3 during my zone 2, and then I had like 8 minutes of zone 4 and 5, or 5 and above. So that kind of equaled it out. It's hard on the trainer because it's all over the place. It's really hard to keep consistent. But my goal is to do less zone 1 when I'm not supposed to, and I only had like 6 minutes and 30 seconds of zone 1 on that one. So I'm super proud of that. That means I'm keeping my legs turning over, because as long as my legs are turning over, I'm above zone 2. Like zone 2 for me is like 120 watts, and I don't have to do much to hit 120 watts for me. Guys, mind you, that might be different for you. I'm not insulting you in the fact if you can't hit 120 watts easily. I am 6 foot tall, 215 pounds. So 220 watts with these legs comes pretty easy. So not 220, 120. 220 is hard. I'm getting there. I want it to be easy one day, but it's hard. Anywho's what's it, I'm gonna finish this energy drink. It was a new to me flavor. It's pretty tasty. I've been milking it during this ride. Go play with the puppies and get in a shower because I'm ripe.